and go live.
Hey everybody, John Shallow with Cruise Addicts and
Don Bugalo with DCL Cruise. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. And we're going to actually cover the brand new cruise ships for 2023. We're also having a live question and answer, and we're going to give you some news today because we don't want to leave that out because there's so much happening in the cruise industry today. And so we'll go to that.
Yeah. So, and of course, before we do this, of course, check in, let us know where you're at. Let us know what ships you're sailing on. Maybe some of the ships John and I are going to be talking about will be ships you're going to be sailing on. So, John, what is happening in cruise news?
There is so much happening in cruising, and the big news is Carnival has become the first cruise line ever to sail with 100 million, not just a million, but 100 million guests. Can you believe that?
Well, I know we were a couple of those guests. I think you were too.
Yeah, so it's really, really amazing. So congratulations to Carnival Cruise Line. I mean, just one of the rock solid cruise lines out there where people just know what they're getting up front and just they deliver the fun and just a great overall experience that really they sail with more families, more military people than any other cruise line, and it's America's cruise line. So super excited for them. And I know we've got some more to talk about them. The next thing that actually is happening with Carnival is, and how do you say this, Don? Do you know how to say the name properly? I don't speak Italian.
I don't think I speak much Italian, but I want to say it's Carnival Venezia.
Yeah, that sounds good enough.
Does that work?
She officially joined the Carnival fleet. I think it's today, right? And will begin sailing year-round from New York in June of 2023. So this is actually going to be, from what I understand, it's going to be cruising Italian style, right?
I think so. It's an interesting kind of concept for Carnival, right? Partnering with this used to be a Costa ship, right? They're partnering Cruise Line Costa Cruises. So adding some new flavors, some new bars that they're going to be highlighting Italian-inspired cocktails. There's an interesting new fusion restaurant too that I want to try. I think it's going to be like an Italian-Mexican mix.
Really?
I think so. Something a little hybrid. I mean, they have on
Chibang, yeah.
Chibang, right? They have that on both Mardi Gras and Celebration, and that's a Asian Mexican hybrid. So, and that's a pretty great place. You've eaten there, right?
Oh yeah, and we're gonna talk about that later on. But yeah, Chibang is actually one of our favorite. And it was kind of like, I didn't expect it to be one of my favorite on Carnival Celebration when we sailed, but we loved it. It was just really, really good. And it actually can be an upcoming article that we're going to produce about the Carnival Celebration. I was just writing about it. So yeah. Wow, so much but I guess now just the spoiler here is if you see that stack there, that shaped stack they're not going to have the whale tail on. I don't know if they're going to add them later on. They may in another dry dock, but I know they're keeping that kind of that same shape, aren't they?
I think so. And now they have a couple of these announced Carnival Costa ship, I guess, mergers. And I want to say they're going to probably not do the whale's tail on those to kind of give, again, the ships their own identity and let you know that it's Carnival Fun Italian style or something like that is the tagline they have for this new partnership. But either way, this sounds like, and this is great for us. We live in Boston, so we can just drive down to New York and check out some of these itineraries and test out some of these new venues. There's a Venice-inspired restaurant with like gondola kind of theming to it and some other little treats there that are still going to have Carnival flair. I think the Guy's Burger Joint's going to have its own special Moz burger that highlights a ton of mozzarella cheese on it. So there's a lot of like fun, unique ways of blending these two brands on the ship.
You're making me hungry.
Our site's called Eat Sleep Cruise for a reason, but we inevitably talk about food with John and I. So folks by now know that.
We always work together. We get hungry.
Don't come to our lives hungry. That's the first rule. If you haven't eaten your supper yet, you haven't eaten dinner yet, don't show up for the lives. You're gonna get hungry.
Yeah, and but no, that sounds really, really great. Really, really excited. And if you haven't seen the Costa ships, now I've never sailed with Costa before, but just obviously, we know it's part of Carnival Corporation, but the ships, and these ships in particular, are just absolutely beautiful. So I think it really is going to be a great experience for Carnival cruisers, where you're going to get best of both worlds, where you get something different, more themed with the Costa theming that's on board. Just really, really cool. So really nice. And I guess the next thing is Celebrity Cruises has announced they're actually adding preview sailings, so you can get a nice taste of the new Celebrity Ascent, which I think is it the 4th in the Ascent class or the Edge class ships?
It will be the 4th. Yeah, Beyond, which launched last year, was the 3rd, and now Ascent, I think, is going to be a little bit more like Beyond. Beyond, they changed up a little bit. They had the new Sunset Bar, which was enlarged and enhanced from the other Sunset Bars on both Edge and Apex, and then a completely kind of redesigned retreat area, that ship within a ship concept for suites. And I think Ascent will also have that too. And what I like here, they instead of just saying we're going to add a week, they added like 2 shorter sailings. That way, for folks who want to test it out and maybe don't have a full week, because it is around the holidays. That's the only bummer about it a little bit.
Yeah, but if you're looking to do some holiday cruising, or maybe you can combine this with I know a lot of people take off for Thanksgiving. This would be a great time to jump on a brand new ship, get a taste of this Edge class that everybody's talking about. Just says this absolutely incredible, the best of the best of celebrity cruising, which is a nice premium style cruising. Definitely check it out. 4-night on 11/22 of 23, and a 3-night for November 26 of 23. So check it out. They just announced it, so I'm sure it's available to book, and you might find some great pricing there.
It is, and just for folks to know, if you are booked on the original maiden voyage, they're still considering that December, that first sailing, the maiden voyage. So it's not like someone's going to sneak in. I'm sure they'll have some nice swag, right? Because you've been on some of these cruises, the first cruise for any new ship.
Yeah.
But we also look too, because I even said to Heidi, I'm like, ooh, we don't have any December cruises, or like it's tough for the holidays, like you said. But there were some availability even for that official maiden voyage too. So these, as you mentioned, just came out. But I think that first maiden voyage too also has some availability if folks want to get on for a full week, because there's a lot to do on these ships.
Yeah, and I haven't been on one, but they just look absolutely beautiful. I love the pool deck with all the LED lighting and everything. Just really beautiful with the artwork. Really, really nice.
Got to get on one. It's one of our favorite classes of ship, John.
Yeah, I definitely need to get on one. So the next big thing is Royal Caribbean is moving forward with the beach club in the Bahamas. If you've been into Nassau, Bahamas, when you actually pull in, there's that lighthouse on your left side there. I guess that port side. I think so, right? The left side.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I should know that, right? But the left side is the port side. If you look over to your left, you'll see the lighthouse, right? But then you have that beautiful strip of land there. Well, they're going to be developing that into the Royal Caribbean Beach Club. It's actually called the Royal Beach Club at Paradise Island, and it's going to be moving forward now. It's finally got some clearances by the government and whatnot there. It's like kind of a public-private partnership there. So it's going to be opening in 2025. And I'm not sure. Do we have any slides we can show that?
We have rendering. Well, it's not open yet, but we have there is this. They have sent a couple of renderings, and it looks nice. I'm a little torn.
That's not real? Sorry.
It looks pretty close.
But you can see that's right where the cruise ships are docking. All the way at the end is the actual lighthouse. If you're a longtime cruiser, when you pull in Nassau, Bahamas. So this is all being developed. I know, it's going to be a major transformation, there as far as, or if anything, it's going to make that area be more functional rather than just, barren land. So it's all, how you look at it.
There's more details coming, and of course we got to connect with my friend Matt at the Royal Caribbean blog. Folks know him, love Matt. Because it seems like there's even like a passageway here, right? So they're gonna have even add additional berth, or maybe further down. Because you're right, all the way in the back, you can see that lighthouse. But I want to say this is further down. But
it's further down.
I want to say a little bit further down, but it's tough too. We have to get like the site plans. I didn't do enough my research to go to the NASA Bahamas registry and start pulling some site plans, but it does look like, I mean, you're right. It is kind of in this interesting area. So it looks like maybe you could just walk there from the ship or not. I don't know. If other folks know, let us know.
The renderings I saw, it almost looks like a combination of some of the best elements of Perfect Day at Coco Cay. like the beachy areas with pools and I'm sure private clubs and really, really great experiences. But you can see how beautiful it is there with cabanas and all these great things. I mean, you can't go wrong with a beautiful Bahamian beach, right?
You can't, and that's an interesting point too. So it is a partnership with Bohemian government, and it'll be interesting to see what's included and what's not here. Because obviously, as you mentioned, perfect day cook. Okay, you get off the ship, and all the food's included. If you have the drink package on the ship, it works on perfect day. So will that be the same case here? I think some of the I hope so, but some of these details are yet to be revealed. So of course we'll keep you updated on some of these elements of what's going to happen here. But I can't go. You can't go wrong with the beach, like you just said, right?
Right. And I know people. We talked earlier. I know people are looking for things to do there. So
Right, and that might be. It might be if it is walkable, you could go there and do a tour like in the morning, and still, if you're there until 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, probably still have a chance to go for a couple hours and enjoy it. So you might get the best of both worlds to see some of the great attractions they have in the Bahamas, Dasher Gardens, or do a city tour, a lion tour, whatever you want to do, and then hit up the beach in the afternoon to relax for a couple hours before getting back on the ship.
right. And if just to pause for 1 second, if you haven't given us a thumbs up on whatever channel you're watching, or give us a subscribe, we really appreciate it. And please, we're going to do a Q&A, so please ask your question below, or just give us a comment. Let us know what cruise you're going to be going on in 2023. And more importantly, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
Likewise, yeah, of course. So let us, yeah, like John said, feel free to bring those questions in about the ships we're talking about, any of the news or things you're just wondering about. Even if it's not about some of the things we're talking about, we're happy to help. Or in John's case, just make up the answers.
Right. So here's an exclusive sneak peek at Princess Cruises' Sun Princess. Don and Heidi were able to go, and we got some video right here.
Yeah, a little video. I don't know if it's rendering well, but yeah, we were able to tour the ship for about 2 hours in Venice. Okay, about a week and a half ago now, a little over a week, and they were really excited about some of the new changes and concepts that they're implementing on this ship. It's a new Sphere class, and we have our video on Eats and Cruise, our YouTube channel. You can also check out we have a whole blog post about it on our website as well. And John, now what have you been on their newest class ship, the Royal class?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So that's currently their largest class. This ship's going to be even larger. It's 175,000 gross tons. So I think equivalent kind of to even a little bit bigger than Quantum class, but similar in size to say Mardi Gras or Celebration, because right, it's a Carnival Corp partner cruise line here. But they told us, even though it's kind of got the rough size of Carnival, Mardi Gras, and Celebration, that the Sphere class has been completely like ground up. They had they used the word blank slate there when they were designing it. So it doesn't look or feel like those other ships. They did a lot of different design elements, the dining room and that piazza, which you saw there. So yeah, we're pretty excited to check it out when it comes out. It doesn't come out till technically early next year. So just about a year away from the ship launching.
It's got a glass dome, doesn't it?
It does. So yeah, one of the features is that glass dome. It's going to be a entertainment space. So it's kind of a dual space where there's going to be during the day a pool there, and you can utilize those amenities. And then the pool gets covered, and they're going to do different types of entertainment. They didn't talk too much about the entertainment, but we can kind of think about maybe they'll have some aerialists, maybe not. They might have some different kind of singing and dancing. They were a little hush on those details, but it is going to be a very dynamic space along with their arena. So their new theater is going to be a little bit more intimate theater, and also similar to say Virgin Voyages or Norwegian Prima, they're going to be able to change the orientation of that, so they can move some seats. The stage kind of rises and falls, which enables them to again do different types of productions.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
I love that. I saw the pictures from the shipyard. There's a huge glass wall that kind of juts out. Is that correct?
That's here's.
I guess the atrium. There you are.
That is pretty. That's you can't really. It's kind of right over. It's kind of right off to the side. I don't have a good picture of that because of kind of where it is, but that's the actual sphere. That's this signature element of the ship, and it goes, I think, from deck 7 to 16, so 9. Wow. Decks essentially of this glass coming out. And you're right. In the atrium, you get some beautiful views there from some of the different venues. It's going to be Alfredo's Pizzeria is going to be near that sphere. the coffee shop, and some other areas. So you're going to get some great views. And then when you're pulling into port, obviously that feature kind of really sticks out on the ship.
Very nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess the next thing is we have what we were talking about, best cruise ships you can sail in 2023. And the first
yeah. We were just Sphere, technically the Sphere class, not yet. That's, I think, February of 24. But there's several ships this year, right? Brand new ships, some totally brand new ships, some sister ships, a ton of ships coming out. So happy, yeah. Let's jump into some of that. We got some questions rolling in here regarding some things too, kind of relevant to hopping into some of these new ships. But I don't know, what ship most intrigues you for this year?
Well, some of these MSC World Europa I find very interesting. I'd like to see that up close. The pictures and videos I've seen, because of course it came out. It's over in Dubai. Looked really, really intriguing. It's the biggest ship from MSC Cruises. Still a totally different class of ship, the World Class. Of course, Viking Saturn. We love Viking. And let's see here. Carnival Venezia. This is interesting. I'm trying to think here.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I thought maybe I agree with you. World Europa is the.
I'm curious about the Explorer Journeys cruises. I just kind of piqued my interest, and I'm kind of going to do a deep dive on that.
All right, yeah. So, well, you mentioned World Europa, of course, largest ship in MSC's fleet. It's going to be the sister ship to World America, which comes out, I think, also next year. Well, and so this is kind of a taste of the cruise line's basically going right at the Oasis class with this ship, right? So they're saying we're gonna take on, and you can see some design elements similar to the Oasis class here. They're trying to go head on with Royal Caribbean's Oasis class, and you can just see it looks like a gorgeous ship.
I didn't know it had bumper cars. I haven't seen this video.
Yeah, you haven't watched our videos, John?
No, I watched this video.
Oh, I thought we were friends. So you could, we have
I didn't see the bumper cars. You have bumper cars. I'm going to take the cruise just for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's got bumper cars. It's got, I think, largest dry slide at sea now. It has the Hall of Games, which is a signature element on MSC with their virtual reality. It has a number of bars. It has this really cool looking coffee shop. I love my coffee. Oh, yeah. So it's supposedly like kind of an upper scale coffee experience. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty fabulous. It is in the Middle East now, but it's also going to be this summer in the Mediterranean. So I'm thinking Mediterranean cruise, test this out ahead of course, some other larger ships that are coming out there too. But this is definitely getting us excited too. But you've sailed on the Oasis class. You think anything can rival that?
Well, I think it's, I don't know necessarily rival. I think this would be a different experience, with large spaces, and of course in an MSC kind of way. Sure. That's what I like about the different brands. They have their own flavors. They can be, the same size and have some similar elements. But of course, the reason why people cruise the different brands is because they have that MSC style and a Carnival style and so on and so forth. And that's why there's such affinity for those brands. So yeah, I definitely think it's great. I love big ships because, some people don't like the number of people, but I definitely think the amenities and options are just, you can't beat them.
Yeah, when we do get that, we hear that a lot too, because as you know, Heidi and I love mega ships as well, kind of mega ship enthusiasts about the people. But I think if the ship's designed right, we've been on Oasis class ships when they're sailing at 100% capacity. And I'm not going to say you don't feel the other people or see them, but I think those ships do a good job of dispersing crowds. I said the same thing about Carnival Celebration. That's right now Carnival's largest ship too. And we were sailing over the holidays. It was pretty full, but yet the way it's designed and where they put certain venues and when they schedule the different activities, it only really felt crowded in a couple places. One is the central, that second entertainment zone, which is just it's not big enough for that shit. But besides that, I think it did a really good job of handling crowds. So we'll see if World Europa and then next year World America, which is basically a sister ship, it's going to, I think, be very similar, how that does actually compare to currently the world's largest ship, the Oasis class.
Yeah. So you want to jump right into these new ships here?
You already kind of you teased it with World Europa, so I'm happy to.
Right.
I'm happy
So,
to.
I just know. So we'll get to it. Resilient Lady is going to be debuting. She's going to be the newest from Virgin Voyages, and her maiden voyage departs on May 14th of 2023.
It does, yeah. So of course, Virgin has currently 2 ships sailing, Scarlet Lady and Valiant Lady, and then we have Resilient Lady, and I think even Brilliant. I think Brilliant. I think it comes out technically this year too. I think Virgin might actually have 2 new ships this year, right?
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
I think so. I mean, they have the ships. They kind of built them in succession. I'm trying to look. I'm pretty sure. Well, at least if nothing else, at least its 3rd ship comes out, as you said, in May, doing Greek and Mediterranean cruises. I'm a fan of Virgin. What do you think of Virgin?
I haven't got a chance to sail on it, but I've heard really good things, and I know that people have said the food's the best.
We didn't 20-ish minutes. We're talking about food already again. I would think so. I tend to agree with you. I think one thing we do like about the brand is that all the dining's included. There's no upcharge dining venues, and a couple venues do have upcharge items. Maybe, especially they have like a seafood tower at the steakhouse, for example. That's an upcharge, or they actually have a couple upcharge menus on their Korean barbecue, but they just bring them anyway and they don't charge you. So it's kind of a weird thing. But yeah, all the dining room, there's no real one main dining room. It's all these several different venues. And I agree with you. The food is definitely top notch. I think it's some of the best food at sea, really.
Yeah, what I find interesting is people. We just had a writer on board, and but it just seems like when the brand first came out, people weren't really sure about it. I think people just didn't know what to make of this new, because it is a totally different style of cruising, right? And but it seems like now they're kind of getting into the groove. They're starting to get like repeat cruisers. People are really fans of the brand and the style, and they're appreciating the food, and they're appreciating the shows, and all these little unique parts of that brand. And people are getting out and sharing the word about how great it is. And it seems like it's doing better and better. And of course, they're bringing on newer ships, which says
right. And yeah, I mean, I think I kind of agree with you. And we got a little correction here. I think World America is actually 2025, so coming out even a little bit further down the road. But
okay.
So save the date. So it might not be available yet. But yeah, I think to your point, Virgin may have come out, and some folks were like, "Oh, that doesn't sound right for me." But as more and more people get on board, they realize it might not be as different as you think. It's definitely different, but you can still, if you're a traditional cruisers, which we are, you can still have a great time. You can still enjoy all the great dining, and then entertainment's a little different, but they're actually just changing. They just had an announcement that they're actually revamping some of the entertainment offerings, and I don't know if that's from customer feedback or not, but these new ships, Resilient, will have some unique shows, as well as some of the shows that people are fans of on Scarlet Lady and Valiant Lady. So I definitely think they're different. But it's a nice different. It's something that's like, oh, I'm looking for something different to do. Virgin Voyages is definitely worth checking out.
Right. So moving on, we're going to go to the Norwegian Viva. It's going to be the second Prima class ship by Norwegian Cruise Line. She's scheduled to debut in August of 2023. And wow, I just know there's a lot of fans of people who just love this new class of ship. What do you think of it?
I think we love it too. So we've had a chance to go on Prima, and I think it's a nice change up for Norwegian Cruise Line, right? So they went with a little bit more elegant design. It has still some of those bells and whistles that are on the Breakaway Plus class. So it still has the racetrack, which you can see here, the largest racetrack at sea. It has some of these dry slides. It has a unique mini golf course. I mean, it has some of those family-friendly amenities, but then it does have still the nice observation lounge in the front of the ship there. It has all the specialty dining that you know and love from Norwegian ships, so that freestyle dining approach, but the venues seem elevated a little bit, right? That decor, and then the new atrium design we're fans of, although that gets mixed reviews, the Penrose atrium area.
Yeah, I thought it was beautiful. I thought the ship was just plush. I think the last couple, I think Norwegian Encore was the first newer ship I've been on, and this one is kind of an extension of that, where it really does have a premium feeling. The cabins were beautiful, really nicely decorated. People see the pictures of it. I did get rave reviews on Facebook and whatnot. Anytime I share the pictures of the ship. They just really love it. And on board is really, really nice. Food was really, really good. I know we both love the Indulge Food Hall, and that's going to be coming back on this ship, which is really, really cool. And you want to tell everybody about that real quickly?
Me miss an opportunity to talk about food? I'm not going to do that. So I think the Indulge Food Hall takes kind of that quick service dining, casual dining experience to the next level, because what it basically does is it allows individuals, it's seated service. There's still service. You can order from I guess a tablet. Now you can't say iPad because that's branded, but you order from a tablet and the food's delivered. It's included in the cruise fare, and it really lets you kind of mix and match from all different types of cuisines. There's rotisserie there. They have Asian cuisine. They have the Q-Texas Smokehouse, which is a specialty restaurant on several other Norwegian ships, has their stand with select items in there. And the plates are just, to me, the right size, so you don't feel bad ordering 3 or 4, right? I feel always, when you go to the main dining room, you're like, yeah, I'll take 3 entrees. People kind of look at you like, what? This guy gonna eat all that? But at the Indulge Food Hall, they're just like, I don't want to say tapas, but they're just the right size that you order a few things, and it's really shareable too, right?
Yeah, it's really, really great. I mean, the food is fantastic. So imagine if you're in a big city, you go to your favorite food hall, and you have to go to different stalls and stuff like that. And you have to wait in line, you have to pay. Well, imagine sitting down at a table or a tablet and ordering and having a waiter bring you the best of that whole food hall right to your table. And it's really, really good. And it's complimentary. So you don't have to think about any pricing or upcharges. Really, really great. The whole area is beautiful. There's a full Starbucks back there as well. It's really, really nice. So yeah, we can't say enough. Just a stunning ship.
Right. So, and I'm assuming they haven't mentioned everything. So I'm going to think Viva is going to have essentially all the same as Prima, but maybe not. Maybe they'll surprise us with change up a venue too. I know when we were on one of the early sailings talking to someone for Norwegian, they didn't let it slip, but basically they had one of their partners on there almost let it slip that they might have a new restaurant concept coming, but they haven't done a complete food reveal. So we don't spread rumors here, just misinformation.
And of course, I mean, anytime you have a new class of ship, they always tweak it a little bit, and something once it leaves the shipyard and once they have guest responses and the crew has worked and lived in it for a while, they go, you know what, we can do this better. So they usually send some change orders, just like a house, to the shipyard and say, we like to do this better.
Yeah. Which is a great point. So why don't we answer a couple questions? I mean, we have tons of great ships to talk to, but we got a good question here, and I like this from David. So thanks, David.
Hey, David.
For the question. David's going on an inaugural cruise. Let us know what cruise. Any things you should expect? Any concerns about going on an inaugural cruise? Now, you've been on a couple of these, John. What would be your suggestions or your feedback for David?
Well, the first thing is, you have to be a little open-minded, because sometimes on a cruise, not everything's going to be 100%. Maybe something might not be ready. Like one feature may not be 100% ready yet on that cruise. But crew-wise, on all their inaugural cruises, almost every cruise line has the best of the best on that ship. They bring all their best hotel directors, cruise directors. That's usually the flagship in the fleet. So whatever brand it is, they try to really concentrate the best crew on board. So you're going to get a great experience. And yeah, it might be, a little bit of not necessarily a shakedown cruise, but it might not be 100%. But I think it's great. There's nothing like that new cruise ship smell, So yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I think why not? I mean, and if you haven't done what you should, I've never noticed like any really bad experiences.
And the thing is, to your point, if something's not ready, or maybe they're testing things out, they're usually pretty flexible. I know on Norwegian Prima, they were like, for example, they tried this. They have this really high tech mini golf, right?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't working, so they asked people to kind of almost test it out and utilize it. And it was supposed to be upcharged, but they weren't charging you, obviously, because they wanted to get that feedback. And also, if there's something you don't like, there's going to be a lot of executives.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of shoreside and cruise executives on there. You can tell them, honestly, you can talk to them and just like, hey, whether you're loyal to that brand or you cruise a lot and you're trying a new inaugural cruise and something isn't up to par, let them know, because as John mentioned, when they build other ships in that class, they're going to try to tweak those things. And that feedback is vital, not only for the ship that's currently sailing, but for any of those sister ships or future ships, or if they're trying to rent a new restaurant concept and it's just not resonating, or whatever the case may be. if you're flexible and you're open-minded, I think inaugural cruise is a great way to kind of experience the ship because it's right out of the docks.
And yeah, I mean, and the cool thing about it is, like, be it Carnival with Bolt or another big feature, maybe with the go-karts when they first came out, there's usually technical people actually cruising still on the ship to work out any bugs. So I wouldn't first, I don't want to scare anybody. First of all, I wouldn't expect any problems because they're constantly testing and they're going to put their best product forward. So don't necessarily think that I'm saying that there's going to be a problem, but I'm saying just go have fun. There's nothing like going to a new restaurant when it opens for the first time in your town. In this case, you're going to be on the ship, the only ship like that in the entire world, and you're on there. And it's really, really cool. Usually they have some commemorative things, a book, maybe some other goodies that might be in your cabin during the cruise. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of times the executives, the famous chefs are a lot of times sailing to bring out those restaurants, and you have access to those people. It's really, really cool to go up.
Yeah, there's definitely, we've definitely seen some celebrity sightings on Carnival and on so cruise celebrities, I guess you would say. We're big cruise nerds, right? So but like you said, chefs or other partnerships they have with other brands that might be in the spa, for example, or designers, right? That those folks are on board. So it definitely feels special once you're on board the ship. And if there's a couple hiccups, then I would, like you said, don't let it get to you.
Yeah, that's just cruising in general. Always go with the flow. It's not worth it.
Go with the flow.
No, let it go.
Question. So if you haven't, John and I did our last live together. Was it two lives ago or last live where we talked about Alaska, places we love to visit and travel? So welcome the Alaska questions. John, he knows all about the land tours. Hacking for Alaska in May. That's fun. And then any recommendations what to do in Alaska? Well, I mean, what do you not do? So I'll give you our top 2 Alaska packing. They mentioned cheaper to buy rain gear. I guess you don't have rain gear, but you want lightweight packable rain gear. I'm going to assume, I don't know where it's cheaper. Probably, honestly, the cheapest place to get it, Amazon.
Yeah.
I would think it's cheaper to get Amazon unless you want some high end. So rain gear is a definite, and then layers. Pack some layers, so lightweight, long sleeve clothing that you can take on and off because you can see temperature swings of 30, 40, 50 degrees in one day. You can wake up, it's 30 degrees, and by the end of the day, it's in the mid 60s, close to 70 sometimes.
Yeah, and I know a lot of times you can also get these little binoculars, like small binoculars. They can be really affordable, but I don't think you want to wait till you go to some tourist area like, Seattle or Vancouver where you're limited where you can walk into in the port or whatnot, because you're going to probably pay top dollar there. Whereas if you're in your home area and you can order something on Amazon, and I think for rain gear, I don't know how elaborate you need to get. I think maybe just a light jacket with a hood, the ones with a drawstring or something. Just something to cover your head that's real light, because we talked about the layers. You want something that's light and maybe some pockets. Something that you can use again. You don't want to waste a bunch of money on stuff that you're not going to reuse. But just have it. So it's a nice thing to have. No one wants to get rained on, and it can rain for sometimes in Alaska. It can rain the whole time, right?
It can, yeah, and it can be cold, and then it can be warm. I think
it's like the reverse of the Caribbean. It can change very quickly. From cold to wet to not wet. I mean, people on our cruise were in the pool on the ship, and they were comfortable. And this was in July, so.
Right. No, yeah, you can get, and there's also some of the ships have indoor pools too. Majestic Princess does have kind of a solarium area. So so the lightweight raincoat for sure, packable, layers we recommend. I don't even think you really need May. It's supposed to be drier, but like John said, it could always rain there. Let's see. Well, I mean, with just some general good things to pack for your cabin, right? We use magnetic hooks to hang things. I think that's uber important too, because if it is wet and you have some wet clothes or a wet bag, if you have your day bag, you can hang them on those hooks so they just stick to the wall and you let things dry. They don't go in your closet. That's always a nice thing. We, regardless of region, always have those too. So that's kind of our top things to pack there. And then what to do. Wow. It really depends what you're into. I think Heidi and I have done bear watching. We've done whale watching. We've done glacier tours. We've done float planes. There's a lot of great hiking, right? What are some of the things, John, you've done? There's just so many things to do. It's like, what are you interested in?
Right. The first thing that jumps to my mind is really like Alaska presents itself. First of all, they can be quite expensive. So you're going to, unless you have unlimited funds or a big credit card allowance, you have to think about what you're going to do because they're more pricey than a Caribbean island tour or something like that, or even snorkeling. So you have to think about maybe, okay, this is where we're going to put some of those funds because they can be very bucket list, like a helicopter tour ride to land on a glacier. And
Right.
then you get suited up and you literally get off a helicopter and you can hear the water running under the glacier. Train rides, horseback riding through Alaska, like you said, misty fjords, trips, different things like fishing for halibut, where you potentially go fishing and come back and then cook it right before you get back to your ship. Actually have a nice cookout afterwards. So there's just a really, really vast amount of really bucket list experiences that are going to be tailored to you. But I can guarantee you one thing: you'll never have the opportunity outside of that area and that part of the world to do those things. So do some research. Princess is really just incredible. So spend some time looking at their online or their brochures to see what your options are, and reserve the ones that really speak to your heart. And I guarantee you're gonna have just an incredible time, and you're gonna be talking about it forever because I still am.
Yeah, we both. I mean, we've been there several times. Yeah, it always comes back to Alaska. I think Alaska is, even for people who cruise, maybe in the Bahamas, you've been on the cruises, Caribbean or the Mediterranean. It is a little bit different because I feel Alaska is not a cruise where if I went to the Bahamas or Caribbean and I didn't get off the ship 1 or 2 ports, or I just had a relaxing day where I sat on the beach and just did not much, it wouldn't impact me. But when I go to Alaska, even the places we've been, there's always so many things to do. I'm like, we're ready to get off the ship as soon as you dock, or if you tender, depending on your port of call. And we want to go most of the day, even if just walking around like Ketchikan is a great place to walk up to Creek Street and see the totem poles and hear about the history. There are plenty of things you can do there that aren't costly if you plan ahead and you know what you want to do. The lumberjack show there is really fun too. It's a family oriented show too, and something you don't, at least down here in I say like the lower states here, we don't typically see. So another question too, just someone from Australia asking for their first time in Alaska, some tips. I think John mentioned like budgeting is the big thing. We have a bunch of articles on our site. Actually, I think we have a video coming out. It's almost like we planted these questions about Alaska costs, but it is going to be more on the tours, but it's worth it in our opinion, right?
Yeah, and the tours can be pretty extensive. So there's all these different ports, and outside of just cruising the glaciers, hopefully you have a balcony. That's a big tip because the sun doesn't really set there in some parts. So you have this beautiful access to the outside of the ship, and just the views are just it's incredible. But the tours, when you do these tours in these beautiful ports, like I can't even tell you about a lot of them because you literally leave and you disappear and do these big tours. You get back to the ship after a full tour. You might not have a chance to actually explore those downtown areas, but you're not necessarily missing much because what you actually did probably was better than the same shops that you normally see in the Caribbean or at most ports around the world, like Diamonds International. I actually saw Diamonds International. And so I don't think you necessarily missed much there per se. So
well, not about the shopping, but the food. I mean, there's some great local restaurants not too far in Juneau,
but there's
some of those spots. So
Princess, they don't mess around. I know on our ship, they had a beautiful Alaska outside, cookout on the deck with all different delicacies. So they bring Alaska to you. You don't need to have local food. I'm joking, but
I know. So actually here we get Kathy. Thanks for the tip here. That she was in May was dry. Yeah. Historically, May is the driest month. It doesn't mean it's not going to rain. No chance of rain. Lower 70s. That's kind of nice. That's almost like that's cold Caribbean right there. 70 degrees.
That's like really good air conditioning with a mountain view.
Right. And then I think they continue on the Skagway train. So that the most popular shore excursion, thanks, Kathy. The most popular shore excursion, yeah, it will be the train there that is inside. So I remember you have to open the windows. It's not temperature controlled, but it is dynamic. That's why the layers are so important because it can be 70. And then we literally went to Alaska in 21. And we went there 2 different times in the span of a month. And the weather was drastically different between those few weeks apart. Like wet rain wise, temperature rise. So you never really know. You can go with historical trends and then get there, and it might buck the trend. So, and of course, thanks to folks for asking. Oh God, John, this is I'm staying on this side, and then we'll get back to some of those other ships. John, I'm staying on this.
Boy, Joseph,
Oof.
you're tugging at my heart here now. I honestly don't know if I can actually answer that because, wow, I've been wanting to go to. I love Princess. We did the Island Princess in 03, and I'm like a super fan. From the trains, and we talked about the last one about the land, and I guess that that might be that might be the only deciding factor, Joseph. If you want to, and thanks for commenting. If you want to do like a land cruise tour, I think that, and you want to go to like Fairbanks and work your way down to the heart of Alaska, and then join the ship in Seaward, and then go down and do a full inside passage 7-night cruise to like Vancouver. That type of cruise, I don't think anyone can do it necessarily better than Princess with a big ship experience. If you want a more luxury experience, more intimate experience on a smaller ship, nobody does cruising to the level that on a Viking cruise, the way they do it. It's two different products. So I highly recommend you consider both of those. And I think you'll have a great time no matter what. So hopefully that helped you out.
It's not like the biggest non-answer I have ever heard.
Are you trying to say I could be like an attorney?
Exactly. Yeah, you were trying to be. What is mean there? So
that's from Bill Clinton.
Of course, it's folks. We go retro here on this live, right? We have to have fun. But they are total. They are. Again, we've been on a few Viking. We're not Viking experts like John, but I do think you're right. It's kind of two different experiences. You're going to be going there with a Viking ship versus the variety of Princess ships that are there.
Yeah.
Right?
So let me clarify. Just to recap, Princess had last time like 7 different lodges, and they have land tours. So you can literally go to Princess lodges all throughout Alaska, and they're themed, and it's all controlled. 100% by Princess. They're staffed by Princess. It's a complete experience, and buses and train cars and everything are literally on the Alaska Railroad, and that connects to the ship. And of course, they've been in Alaska longer than anyone. So that's just a totally unique offering. But then you compare it to Viking, which is just incredible too. So 2 different products. So you have to weigh those 2 options. I'm sorry, because I have a hard time doing it because I'm kind of pulled both ways. So.
Yeah. And I think so we got some a helpful guide here too is itinerary might also matter too. So
yes,
Glacier Bay, highly recommend. Princess goes there. I'm not sure if all the Viking itineraries, they just have the one ship, right, that does kind of those longer trips too. So
yeah,
Princess you can get a week, where Viking you need more time, so because they're longer trips. And then if you can go to Glacier Bay, that might sway my opinion, because Alaska's beautiful either way, but Glacier Bay for us, especially if you don't think you're going to get back to Alaska, is you see like 4 or 5 glaciers, and they're all different, and the programming is amazing because the National Park Service rangers from the Park Service board the ship, usually a couple of them, and it's a full day experience with them doing a narrated like sail through. So they tell you what you're looking at, what they're there to give you history of the park, and then they usually do presentations, maybe in the solarium, where they have handouts and folks there to ask questions while it's being narrated, and then they usually have other programming in your theater. So you can make it a very enriching day and learn a lot more than you probably would than if you just kind of walked off on your own and did stuff or read a tour book. So Glacier Bay, that experience is phenomenal. And I'm not, like I said, I know several Princess ships do it, so that might sway me a little bit if you were comparing certain weeks.
And that's one of the things, like the Princess, some of these legacy lines, I guess, sometimes they have access and rights to things that some newer cruise line to that area doesn't have, because they literally have been there for a long time. So you may have a different, more unique experience there, that you might not, different offerings. Like I said, the lodges, maybe access to ports and whatnot. So definitely compare and contrast the 2. It's going to be really, really hard. I wouldn't want to be in the position, but you can pack me if you'd like. So.
You could send you go on one. So Joseph's saying sorry to put you on the spot. No worries. We're just joking with you. I think you can't go wrong with either. There's just like pros and cons to both, right?
Right.
Yeah. And we got another Danny D. Thanks for joining. We got another vote for Glacier Bay. And actually Majestic Princess too. So
It is a must. You know, I was talking about this to my wife, and I think we talked about how just the Glacier Bay water looks like it's green and blue, like you're in the Caribbean. It's stunning. And of course you have the wildlife and the glaciers calving, to me, sound like thunder, like a cracking thunder, like a lightning bolt thunder kind of, you know, I need sound effects, but you know, just incredible. That just blows your mind. You know, you have to experience it. So yeah, Glacier Bay definitely high on my list.
Well, we could talk about Alaska all day long. I love it. So
this is why at least it's radiating with everybody that's watching. We appreciate you remembering this because we're so excited about it. You know, and it's real. And every crew member I've talked to, captains I've talked to and interviewed, they've actually say, "Where do you want to cruise?" They all say Alaska. That's
and I think they're doing a pretty good job of. There's still a lot of ships there, so there's plenty of variety. We've talked about a couple of cruise lines, but depending what cruise lines you like, you can probably find a ship that aligns to your style of cruising, because more and more cruise lines go there, large ships, smaller ships. So let's see. Oh God, let's talk. We were talking about, we'll take one more question and we'll get back to that, because I love, again, bring the questions. We love answering them. That's what we're here for, to help out. And I could talk about stuff. This is an interesting question, I think, here from Tim on YouTube. What is a better NCL experience, Great Stirrup Key or Harvest Key?
I have not been to Harvest Key.
Neither. Darn, John, you were supposed to be my Harvest Key expert. We haven't been either. Heidi and I haven't been either.
Yeah, I haven't been there. Now we just went to Great Stirrup Cay, and of course they added, when the Norwegian Encore, they added that we both were on. They actually added that whole new area, which it's a beautiful place. But Belize, right? Yeah, Belize is beautiful.
I mean,
I'd love to check it out. I remember all I've seen is the renderings and some maybe some pictures. Maybe I remember when they built that. They were very excited about it.
We were supposed to go. There was a trip, and we couldn't get in. The weather was, even with, I think there's a dock, even with the weather, we just couldn't dock there. And that great Harvest Key. So I would say one thing about Great Stirrup Key is Harvest Key was a partnership with Belizean government. So once you get off the ship, not much is actually covered, right? So food costs more there. Your drinks are not covered in the drink package, which on Great Stirrup Key they are. So that's one benefit of Great Stirrup Key.
Okay.
And there's plenty of space there on Great Stirrup Key, but ships, I mean, we've hit or miss. We've I don't want to lie, at least 3 or 4 times we were supposed to get there, but because you have to tender, the ships don't always get in there either, which is unfortunate. But they have some really nice beaches, and they have that whole new, like you said, that new the Cove area, which is an exclusive private area with its own beach.
Really nice.
They have villas, not cabanas, villas, like legit indoor venues that you can rent that have bedrooms. They have like a living area, exclusive restaurant for the Cove. So definitely an elevated experience. It's unlike anything, even like the beach club that Royal Caribbean has. That whole Cove area is definitely, I would say, more luxurious if that's what you're into. But still, if you're not, plenty of nice beaches and bars at there. So you really, I don't know. I mean, I would, not having gone to Harvest Key, I can't say which one's better. But I think if you're comparing itineraries, and if the make or break is like the private island, I think then at least Great Stirrup Key has more inclusions, more things covered because in your cruise fare.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
You don't trust me. I feel like you don't trust me.
Well, I'm just thinking it's going to be a great experience no matter what, because I mean, after seeing Great Stirrup Cay, I was just really, really impressed. I don't think Norwegian's doing anything subpar. I think it's really, really awesome. And hopefully both of them are as equally good.
Yeah, hope so. I mean, like I said, Harvest Key looks beautiful. It definitely has a large resort style pool, similar to Royal Caribbean's area with bars next to it and restaurants. But I'm pretty sure, and we'll have the boss, the real person who runs DC Cruise, Heidi, double check for us. But I'm pretty sure most of that stuff on Harvest Key isn't included. So
okay, well, that is a big differentiator.
For me, it would be not. It doesn't mean I would totally rule it out. But if I'm debating and everything else on the itinerary is kind of equivalent, I might it might tip my hat to pick the cruise that goes to Great Stirrup.
Good answer. Well, thank you, Tim. We really appreciate having the comment.
Thank you. Yeah.
We're like debates here, aren't we today? We don't mess
Yeah,
around.
let's bring it on, folks.
Good
I'm all for. I mean, I'm all for hearing other people's opinions. I mean,
I think it's cool. Let's make it a stink.
Yeah, I mean, what we say isn't always right. It's just,
No.
especially when I'm arguing with my wife, it's never right.
Right. Oh, I can't even go there.
You wouldn't go there. So, speaking of go there, so we did talk about Viva. We just talked about Norwegian. Some other ships we're really excited about next year, or excuse me, this year. We're still in what year are we still in? We're still in 2023. I don't know what's next. Let's talk about.
Let's see here. Where were we at here? So the Carnival Jubilee is coming out. This is the sister ship and the third in the Carnival Cruise Line's popular XL class, which is really revolutionary. It's got Bolt, the ultimate sea coaster, and of course that'll be returning aboard Carnival Jubilee. And the Carnival Jubilee is really making news because it's going to this amazing new port, but a port that's just growing leaps and bounds, which is Galveston, Texas, the port of Galveston. I was on there, the Norwegian Prima, really love that area, really, really nice. And of course, it's in driving distance of so many different amazing cities in the Texas region and New Orleans and that whole area there. But really, really awesome. Also, if you don't want to wait till December 2023, you can get on board the Carnival Celebration, which is sailing from Florida. So really, you've got so many choices. These are just beautiful ships. They're getting rave reviews. I know we both really love. This is the Carnival Celebration you're looking at here. Really, really awesome. This is the gateway area. Really wonderful. The pizza's always been really good, but I think they almost took it up a notch. And granted, they are working with Emerald, so I think they kicked it up a notch. Bam! Really, really good. And of course, you'll have Emeralds on board too, and that's going to be also on the Carnival Jubilee. That looks like you. Now, so, but the thing that you can't miss, okay, not miss is they've got beignets, fresh beignets at Emerald's Bistro, right there. It's in the gateway. Yeah, right there.
It is. Yeah, I wish I had a picture of them. So this is awesome. I think I do. I don't know if we passed it, but
yeah, really.
Each Emeralds is a little different, right? The one on Mardi Gras menu is a little bit different than the one Celebration. So who knows? Maybe you had to work in the Emerald tagline there, but maybe they'll do a little something different. So, but yeah, I think we've only been on a couple other Carnival cruises, and I think they did a great job with this class of ship. So interesting to see what Jubilee has that might be a little bit different than these two sister ships.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I think, and of course, I tell you what, I've got a chance to talk to executives previously and other times. Their attention to detail is phenomenal. You would not believe, and people do not see that part of the brand. They haven't had that access, and I'm not trying to talk myself up, but it just blew me away that, how they would just write these things down like any little thing. And I mean, they don't miss anything, and it's all about the guest. So, and I think that goes throughout the whole Carnival Corporation fleet. There's a reason why they're so successful is because they really do care about the guest and the whole experience from every little thing. So really impressive.
I did agree, not to name drop, but when I was having lunch with Christina Duffy the other day, I was mentioning to her that I wasn't having lunch, but you can talk yourself up, John. That's perfectly fine. I think we mentioned it earlier when David was asking about inaugural cruises. Like, again, when you're on some of these trips, even if it's not inaugural, and you see someone from the cruise line who might be a hotel director or operations or shoreside who's an executive, feel free to talk to them because they do want to hear from you. They want to make these ships as focused on the customer as possible. They want to make sure you're having a great time, and they're willing to hear tell them the good stuff too. Don't complain. I always try to let them know what's working as well as what's not working. Right? If you just have a list of complaints and you didn't like anything about the ship, I don't know why you're cruising, because I've never been on a cruise. That's a lie. One cruise out of 65 plus cruises where I was like, get me off the ship. We always end up finding things that we enjoy and like about almost any cruise ship. So do let them know what's not working, but also let them know what you do enjoy, like beignets at Emeralds or kind of the layout of the pool deck, like that classic cell class, John, that adults only area is
Oh,
massive. It's
yeah.
amazing. It's better than it's more open and more seating options. It has a pool, its own bar, its own little
Oh,
salad bar. I
it's
mean,
really
it's perfect. A perfect escape from all the families.
And I was just writing about this. There's also the Loft 19 area, which is
Mm,
above the Serenity, and you can buy daily passes. There's cabanas there, and it has a nice size pool. It's almost like a big jacuzzi that overlooks the Serenity deck, and it's an infinity. It's called an infinity pool, but
yeah.
it's like a big hot tub almost, but overlooks the Serenity area, and it's at the top. So you have these, and then you also, because it's this luxury area, you actually have bar service. So they have the waiters come up right to you. There's like no one up there.
Yeah.
The sun's setting. It's beautiful. You have a nice cool breeze. Highly recommend doing that. Either get a pass for the week or a couple days, what have you, and check it out. The Loft 19 area. Totally love it.
Yeah. No, and then again, I mean, that is not charged, but even the area below the sanctuary area that you can
Yeah.
just enjoy there. We were on a holiday sailing, and you can't go midday and get a seat, but there was always a lot of good seating options there. They have that bar and that nice pool, and it's open. Sometimes the adults only areas, those solariums that feel closed in, it's definitely not like that. So I
No,
think Carnival really listen to customers that have the right types of venues on this ship.
and I think that Serenity area is the best on any Carnival
Alrighty, yeah.
ship I've been on. And of course, the Loft 19 area is just kind of like a cherry on top. But what's interesting, and just to expand on this, is where it is on the ship. Honestly, I think some people might not find it for about 3 days. Like it's kind of up tucked away on its own. That
Mhm.
unless you're looking for that, you're not going to find it. And of course, if you're with kids or something like that, you might be so busy in different parts of the ship or just caught up doing things that you might not realize. So you might have all by not to yourself, but there'd be surprisingly there might not be a lot of people there. That's what I'm trying to say.
Definitely. Well, we always get surprised. You find this too? Maybe others can weigh in on this. That even on these mega ships that have 4,000 people on them, the first couple days, you're just like, oh, there's no one on this ship. I have the ship to myself. And then by like day 5, you wake up at 8 a.m. and all the chair hogs are out. They got the towels on there, which cruise lines again cracking down on. We didn't have that
Yeah,
in
I
the news,
saw that.
but there's been some big crackdowns. Kudos to the cruise lines because it'd be
Yeah.
annoying. I go for a run when I ran. I go for a run at 7 a.m. and it just be towels on every chair, and you're like, these people are just ridiculous. But
No, it is out of control.
it was, and the cruise lines are finally but it always seems like by even not with that, by like day 5, it's almost like everyone else on the ship found their way around. So we always say front load. So like that venue, like I said, it takes day 3 or 4. People like, oh, what's all the way in front of the ship? And then you realize it's this awesome adults only area, right?
Yeah, it's true. There's people. These ships are so big, and sometimes the way they're laid out very well. But some places, if you didn't know it was there, and you didn't make a point of going there, you
Mhm.
wouldn't get there. So,
Right.
um, there's just so much to do on these ships nowadays. So many food choices, so many areas, things to do from shows that you can completely get distracted or pulled in different directions, and you might miss something. It's getting like that. I really think that, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's why you got to look at the deck plans. So we have the Z Show Cruise Fun on YouTube checking in. Already has Jubilee booked.
Oh,
So
very nice.
Christmas cruise. That would be a really. I mean, there'd be a lot of families, a lot of kids, but that must be a crazy cruise beyond for Christmas.
Well, the Z Show Cruise Fund, we really appreciate it. I can't
Yeah.
talk today, and we really appreciate you checking in. Thank you so much. And I'm jealous because the Carnival Jubilee is going to be awesome, and of
Hmm.
course, you're going to ring in, Christmas and hopefully the new year on board. That'd be really awesome.
Yeah. Have you done a Christmas cruise? We did our first one last year
Oh, never did a
with our
Christmas. I did
family.
Thanksgiving one. That was really awesome.
You did what?
Thanksgiving
Oh, sure. Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Independence of the Seas, really, really nice. I highly recommend people do that. Just really, really cool.
Yeah. No, we did. So we did our first Christmas one, and it was definitely an experience. We went. It was We went with Heidi's family, so
Yeah,
that's fun. I feel like if you go, there were a lot of, you know, 3, 4 family members groups. You saw a lot more larger groups, which I think it might be a nice tradition or something you can do to do the holidays on a cruise. And then we have done a couple. Thanksgiving to me seemed a little bit. It's still great. I think I preferred the one over Thanksgiving a little bit more. I'm not saying the Christmas one wasn't fun and it wasn't really very memorable, but I feel like on Thanksgiving because it's like football and food and stuff. The atmosphere was a little bit different and a little bit, I guess, livelier than a Christmas cruise, whereas Christmas cruise seemed, but there were still plenty of family activities, just seemed a little different to me.
Okay. Well, that's cool. No, I just think it's a great time to cruise. It's also, kind of, we talked about savings. November and December can be a great value as long as the cruise doesn't necessarily fall on the holidays. So,
like around it.
Yeah. But in Thanksgiving doesn't seem as bad. Christmas and New Year's is really expensive. Isn't it normally more expensive?
So New Year's for sure. We've always, again, Heidi's always like, you don't take me anywhere. I never go on trips. So she's always like, I want to do a New Year's. That's my Heidi impersonation. I want to do it.
How'd you say it?
We're not replay. They can hear it on replay. So she's always said, I want to be on a cruise ship for New Year's Eve. Oh. And those are expensive. The Christmas cruise we went on, we did get a really good deal. And I want to say they did a great job. There was a nice big Christmas tree. We went on a royal ship, Royal Promenade, a Christmas tree shop. Santa showed up for the kids, and I think they did a fun thing. You get a picture with Santa, and I think our nephew got like a award, like a gift to open, and you sing Christmas carols. Yeah, the special Christmas dinner. So they definitely leaned into the Christmas spirit. And likewise, the same thing on Thanksgiving, right? They had the football games on big TVs when we did it, and they obviously had turkey dinner on Thanksgiving, and they had holiday themed trivia on both trips, right? So it's definitely kind of something to do if you can get the right price. We booked ours. They were running a sale, and I remember looking at the price. I'm like, there's no way that's the Christmas week. And it was. So I'm like, book it. Because you're right. It's usually a little bit more pricey, but if you don't buy, we did the whole, like, we're not going to buy gifts for everyone. So that, of course, my wife loved that idea of not getting a Christmas gift because we're on a cruise.
I'm waiting for a shoe to come across the room at you.
Like off screen. It's like her wedding ring. It's like, I've had enough of you on the side. But again, that's kind of a trade-off, right? If you're going to spend the money on do those things with your family, maybe you forgo the Christmas gifts. I'm not saying you have to, but that was a decision we made with her family. Friends, like, we're going to do this, and there was no Christmas gifts exchange and things like that. But there were plenty of families, plenty of people with Christmas PJs, which we tried to get, and I would have done it. Like, we were gonna, like, people wearing Christmas PJs and stuff like that. I mean, it was definitely a festive time on the ship.
No, I love that idea, and I think more importantly than gifts, I think time together and making memories that'll last forever is just incredible. And it's hard to get people to cruise together. I know it hasn't happened that much in our lives.
So, yeah, and they do all the pictures too, so they have some really cool backdrops for the holidays. It's definitely, I think you're paying a premium to go on some of those trips, but I mean, we're gonna. It's kind of a new tradition. We kind of switch holidays. I think we might be doing a cruise for a holiday for a while because they are great for larger groups, and you can get photos, and they have the big tree, and they have different kind of people got a little bit more dressed up too. I would say, because I feel on some cruises, kind of people haven't been getting as dressed up, but people definitely got dressed up. And like I said, they had like a special Christmas Eve dinner, a special Christmas Day dinner as well.
Probably have a lot of religious services available too, I imagine too. So
sure, they had all that regardless of what you celebrate.
Right.
They definitely had services for all denominations or different types of religions there. Neither one of us are religious, but they take care of all that. The cruise lines, they take care of all that.
Yeah. All right. So the next one is Celebrity Ascent. That is the fourth in Celebrity Cruises Edge class. I think we talked about that earlier. And yeah, really.
We did. Yeah.
Really, really cool. And then the next up is MSC Seascape, and she's actually out. She's the newest ship from MSC Cruises. She debuted in Miami, and she is the fourth in the popular Seaside class of ships and the second in the EVO subclass, which I know they enhanced it all with some enhancements of that class of ship. So really,
we got to check out that ship at the very end, like John said, very end of last year it came out. So I always sneak it in because it came out December? Yeah, we were on it together, got a preview of the ship. It's a gorgeous ship, family friendly too. Lots of some of those same amenities that we were talking about that World Europa has. MSC is they kind of standardize some of those things across the street, like the Hall of Games, or they have that Robotron.
Yeah, Robotron is really, really cool. Gelato everywhere. No, I'm kidding. So, the best coffee though. The best coffee everywhere, anywhere though. Really, oh, look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it definitely worth checking out this year. There's some really good deals. So MSC has some really good entry level cruise deals to test it out. Their pricing structure might be a little confusing, but you might have a post about it. We have a post on it because they have all these different experiences, which then dictate what dining options you might be able to get, like dining times you might be able to get. Some of them come with like a entry level beverage package. Some of them don't. But if you can score a good deal, which we know there's some good deals out there, it's definitely worth testing out. Some really great specialty restaurants on the ship, right?
Oh yeah, like right there. The teppanyaki
Right.
is really a highlight. I would definitely do the teppanyaki. Um,
Right.
really,
Yeah.
steakhouse is really really good. So definitely the teppanyaki and the steakhouse are my 1 and 2 right now, just off the top of my head. Highly recommend that.
Yeah. Or the Ola, you saw the clip, the Ola's tacos.
Yeah.
Kind of, it's more casual, and I think it is open on sea days too, sometimes for lunch.
Did you
And
did
they
you
do a deal. I want to say it's $17 or $18, all you can eat.
oh did
And
you
I'm like, that I can eat some tapas all day long at $17 a person for that. So I'm a picker. I could, or even for dinner, if you just want to do something low key before the show and don't want to spend an hour and a half in the dining room, because I would say that their main dining room is very traditional, multi-course meal that can take a little bit of time. So if you want something quick and easy, I think that's another option too. Along with the steakhouse was phenomenal. I mean, delicious.
Yeah. And we're both getting a chance to visit the MSC Meraviglia next month.
Yeah.
I think the 21st of April, we're going to be on board in New York City. She's going to be starting year-round cruises there. So we're excited to see that class ship. I've never been on board that class of ship. I think it's the Meraviglia class, I think, off the top of my head. But really, really incredible. It has that LED screen and a kind of a street down the middle, kind of like the Freedom class by Royal Caribbean. So really looking forward to seeing that because they look really, really nice from the pictures. I don't know if you've cruised on board her.
We haven't. We've been on. I think it's kind of like like they have all these subclasses, like Grandioso, which is kind of I
Okay.
think a little bit larger. Like I think it's Mevelia Plus class.
Okay.
So we did get a tour of that when it came to Boston. So it was actually the largest ship to ever come at the time. Might be still true. The largest ship to ever visit Boston because we don't have. You would think Boston has a better harbor than it does, but I'm not going down that. That's for another live. My goal to make Boston a better cruising port than it is. But you're right, it has the domes, several that dome, that nice more open promenade than
Yeah.
the Seascape ship did. Seascape had more of that huge atrium, right? It was like
Yeah. It's a
4 or 5
yeah,
decks.
right.
Yeah, this has more of that open kind of say like one long promenade. I think it's couple decks. I think that one's like 2 or 3. I think it's 2 decks with like venues on both decks. But yeah, it seems like we always get to meet up in New York for whatever reason. They host
really
these
cool.
events there.
It's really cool. Yeah, so I know I'm really looking forward to that. Just check that out, see something new. We're only on board for like 8 hours or so, but they may have to kick us off like last time. So
Right. Oh, last time was literally like, where do we like the show is over? Like, thank you. And we're like, is there a bar still open?
I'm like, I'm not leaving.
Don't make me leave. But I think if I remember the invitation's very specific. It said like you said like 8 o'clock or whatever.
I kept yelling no in Italian, like no.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
but that's actually selling thing from Brooklyn or the Bronx. It's not in Manhattan.
Oh,
So
no?
it's at a different, it's a different cruise terminal. That's why I think they're hosting things as another option from New
I
York.
thought it
Yeah.
was from the same terminal.
It's not gonna be the same terminal. Heidi will correct me exactly which one, but it's not the Manhattan terminal.
You try to say your wife would correct you, sir.
You trying to get in trouble too now?
Well, I
You
guess
see a shoe, like a virtual shoe comes flying through.
my phone's gonna ring, John.
But no, it's a different. It's at a different terminal, which is great for people. So us New Englanders and people in Northeast, we don't get a lot of options for cruising. You have Cape Liberty, Bayonne, which Royal and Celebrity sail from Manhattan, where you have Norwegian usually has a ship there year round. Now MSC is trying to position a ship there as well as now this other port near the New York area. And then you have really just Boston, which is seasonal, Bermuda, and Bermuda is like May through October-ish. And then you have the fall cruises, which are September to October, late August. But I think I'm all for expanding any of those areas where we can get more ships, especially mega ships. Like Mervillia is a nice large mega ship. So looking forward to checking that out. And then it's doing, I think, a variety of cruises. So I don't have a clip of it. I forgot we are to mention that. So It's Brooklyn in April. Thank you, Brooklyn. It's from I said Bronx or Brooklyn, so it's sailing from Brooklyn.
Is that your producer?
That's my producer. That's the CEO, the producer, the executive director,
the boss.
the boss.
So we got on to MSC World Europa.
Yeah, someone was asking us about World Europa. Yeah. We teased it earlier when we were talking about larger ships, but that's the one I was saying. Like I got to get on board as mega ship enthusiast and check it out to see how it compares to Oasis class.
I tried to get on World Europa, but they wouldn't fly me to Dubai or Doha. But
they wouldn't?
No, I said go. So I was like,
I find that hard to believe. Well, that's an interesting question. So I know, like I said, it's coming to the Mediterranean there. So I think I just feel like MSC. I mean, I don't know. I think I'd cruise all around the world, but I don't know if MSC in that region of the world is kind of the cruise line I want to cruise with. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, obviously the Mediterranean for sure, MSC, but in kind of the Middle East, or I guess that's Eastern. Yeah, because it was mostly doing the Middle Eastern itineraries, kind of there. I've never been to that region of the world. I don't know if you have.
Well, I think it was a big initiative with Cruise Saudi Arabia. They're trying to get cruises and offer them there. And it seems like they've been doing well. I mean, there's people there that want to cruise just like we want to cruise. Yeah. So, cruising is getting popular. They need the terminals. These governments are investing in these beautiful terminals. The cruise lines are bringing brand new ships like MSC did. So, yeah, it's just people that want to take a cruise. They don't want to fly away. They, from long distance, they want to do closed loop cruising. So I just think it happens to be that part of the world, and I'm sure it's beautiful.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's not only folks like us who like to cruise. All around, cruising is popular all around the world. So it's and it makes it easier for us to see the world because there are ships literally everywhere. I mean, I don't know a place that cruising doesn't happen, whether it's river cruising, which I know you know a lot about, or ocean cruising.
Yeah. So yeah, it's growing leaps and bounds, which is great. So the next ship is going to be Carnival, and you're going to have to say this for me. Venezia? Did I say it right? I think you got better.
Listen, if you're taking linguistics lessons from me, then you just I would just I
have to kind of say
put all your I would take your chips and go home. So I think it's Venezia.
Hey,
Venezia.
Hey, Santa from New York.
Sorry. They got a good gravy on that ship.
Okay. Beginning in June, it will offer a signature Carnival fun Italian style. So it's going to be basically the best of Costa and Carnival elements. There's going to be a Guy's Burger on there, all those favorite things that you really enjoy. But like we talked about earlier, there's going to be some of the theming and a lot of the public spaces that were on the ship, that exist on that ship, that Costa brings, are going to be there. And they're really, really a nice example of just wonderful Costa styling, Italian styling. There's beautiful spaces that you can check out. So you get a chance to have the best of both worlds, because people really, really love the Carnival brand. They're very comfortable with the brand. They want their Guy's Burger. They want the pizza. They want a lot of these favorite things. And I'm sure they like to see some different styling from other brands, like in this case, it's Costa, which is, of course, owned by Carnival Corporation. So it's great. They've got more capacity now and a beautiful ship. So
and sailing from New York. We're just talking about more options for us Northeasterners.
I wonder if they did that because there's a lot of Italians in the New York, Boston area. You know what I'm saying?
I think so. I think some of my paisans might be hopping on there and checking it out. And they might just also, I think they're offering, are they doing some Bermuda? They're doing a couple different itineraries too. So some of those seasonal ports. And I think it also does a variety of different lengths of cruises. So you could get
coffee and strombolis and some meatballs and some pasta.
They're gonna have it all, I think.
Hey,
listen, Carnival, get us. You're talking to two Italian American folks with that kind of heritage. Who else better to review that ship?
We want to check out the gravy.
The gravy fountain. And then the big, you mentioned the Guy's Burger. It's called the Big Ma's.
Yeah,
where it's just going to be
the gravy fountain that you had on the Mardi Gras. We want
to. There was no fountain on Celebration. We're not going. That's another live topic for those who've been following along with us.
I'm bringing
our obsession with eating.
I'm bringing the photo of the fountain. I know I've got a video somewhere. It was on the preview day of the Mardi Gras. They had there was a gravy.
Well, before we get into more gravy talk, I think Willie's already probably pulled this question. Do you guys ever do group cruises? Listen, that probably not 23, but now, I mean, if you're giving us the ammo and we can get some folks on board to have some fun, I mean, John and I, we can definitely take this offline as a possibility. But if there is, we know they'd have to be a gravy fountain on any group cruise we do. So
Yeah.
it would just be like food and us talking about more food
I
and
would be
occasionally getting off the ship.
call a Carnival gravy fountain, please.
So we have it. Well, we've Eats Cruise. We've never done. Heidi and I never done. We've toyed with it. We've been actually on some other creators group cruises and had a great time. So they're great to connect with other folks. And I know you've tried. You thought of doing ones as well too, right? As a Cruise Addicts.
Yeah, Cruise Addicts was established in 1999, so we had a really began as a message board, a forum, and so we kind of had a community way back before all these other things even existed. So we were blessed to have large group cruises and members that cruised for many, many years together. So we've got some experience with that. And I didn't know if I'd like it. I'm like, I don't know if I want to be with other people because I like to be on the deck drinking my Coca Loco or what have you. But group cruises can be great. I've always had a great experience. I've made lifelong friends that are still Facebook friends, and I've got friends all around the world. So really, group cruises are awesome. So hopefully we can all get together. And if this works out, we can do something together. That'd be great. So thank you for this suggestion. And we appreciate you all watching, and hopefully give us a subscribe, give us a like. We really appreciate all the support, and we appreciate you sticking with us this long. So really awesome.
Yeah, and of course, like if you have more questions, we always, go an hour and a half, and we are going to make this more regular. I know we've been saying that every other week when we do this, but John and I, we're getting together. We're putting our combined forces and brain power together to make it a more regular thing, so it can be.
That's a big brain.
Well, combined, yes, not well, maybe yours, but between shoes getting thrown at us by our wives, we're trying to make it more together. But yeah, I mean, I'd be open to definitely having some kind of group cruise and getting folks together. I guess we weren't around. You were trying to date yourself. So you started Cruise Addicts when you were what, 6?
Yes.
Yes.
I had like a little tablet.
A baby tablet. You're like the E-Trade baby. Now we're going way back. John was like the E-Trade baby when he started Cruise Addicts way back when, because he's so young. He can't be that old to have started it that long ago. Right. So you were the E-Trade baby with Cruise Addicts.
Right.
Oh my god. But yeah, I guess we weren't into cruising yet, so we couldn't. We wish we would have. Heidi and I didn't start cruising till 2007. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
I know.
Oh,
we got more people. DBJXYZ would be keen for a group cruise around food too. Yeah, I mean, obviously you'd have to deal with food, right? It would have
meatballs, pasta, gelato, coffee.
Yeah, that'd be tough because there's so many potential ships you could do it on. Because what cuisine would you focus on? But we're taking the feedback. We appreciate the recommendations. We'll consider. I mean, we would definitely.
We both met Chef Rudy. We can make something happen here.
Yeah. Well, those. You got the executives. You were name dropping earlier.
I'm a name dropper.
You know more folks. You know more folks than I do here. But we can definitely.
Here's the name drop for the night. So you talked about Alfredo's Pizza. I met Alfredo.
Is there really there's a real Alfredo?
He actually was the executive chef at the time, and he was on our sailing in 2003. No lie.
Oh. That's pretty amazing. That is a great story.
Yeah, it was great.
So, well, I don't know if we could get that, but we'll try. We could try to get some of those folks.
Do I get cool points for that? Am I cooler now?
You are. You've always been cool to me. So
thank you.
Well, yeah, I know we got some Joseph saying goodnight. I think we must have missed Joseph signing off. Sorry, I can only type and talk so fast.
They're falling off now.
Well, they've had like their full. There's only so much food talk from us they can take in 1 week, and then folks are like, "All right, we've asked all our food questions. That's as far as we can go." But I know we had a few other ships. Let's try to. We don't have to rapid fire it, but I'm wondering. Let's get to, if you don't mind skipping around. There's one I'm really interested in learning more about. I'm going to steal this from you, if you don't mind, John.
No,
here, you don't mind?
No, I'm
right here. So let's go. So
right.
brand new cruise. So we talked a lot about MSC, World Europa, Seascape, brand new cruise line. And this
Right.
is line Explorer Journeys. Its first ship comes out this summer. Explorer 1. And you know who they're gunning for?
Yeah. They're kind of going after that Viking category, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I think so, right? They're very similar to the size ocean ship. I think it's a little bit smaller than
Right.
it's I mean, it's not significantly different, right? So similar to Viking Ocean,
Duplicate.
similar inclusions
Yeah.
as Viking Ocean.
Mhm.
So I mean, do you think they'll be able to peel off some of the loyal Viking cruises to check it out?
Well, some people are going to try anything. There's always a certain segment that'll check it out. I mean, people like new products, new ships, new offerings.
I mean, it looks. They hear the renderings, of course. Looks like a nice vessel. It's going to offer a variety of different
Yeah.
European itineraries. It's going to have. You saw that had nice. Look like that
The
infinity pool in the
retractable roof like
back.
Viking.
Sorry, what?
I said has a retractable roof like Viking has.
Yeah. Again, it's. I don't think they're hiding what type of traveler or cruiser they're going after, right? Just from the inclusions and from the design.
So just like so it's all balconies, right?
Yeah, with that nice. I said infinity, but it's more of an aft pool. Because there's some seating there. And upscale dining. All the dining is going to be included, very similar to what Viking does, right? They have several different restaurants that are included in there.
Really fancy looking.
Yeah, it looks really sharp. So,
well,
I think
we both agree MSC ships are beautiful.
They are. Yeah, they definitely have that. They have their own. I think they definitely have their own unique kind of metallic. They have their own decor aesthetic that when you walk on, you're like, this is an MSC ship, right? You know right away. And I think Princess does too, to some extent.
Oh yeah.
At least Royal Caribbean's kind
yeah.
of their Freedom class, and then obviously the Voyagers one who started kind of the promenade. So that look. So, but MSC similarly, yeah, you get on there and you can have that grand staircase with the crystal staircases and a lot of the blacks and the metallic finishes. Very clean lines, kind of more modern, futuristic look.
And I was just saying overall that they don't really mess around. Like they do a really good job. They build beautiful ships, and this being a whole new cruise line, it has a different look and a feel, of course. Obviously, very luxurious looking. Look at that.
Yeah,
really, really beautiful.
Thermal suite's going to be. They have a thermal suite similar to Viking. It's going to be included in the cruise fare. So they're really definitely. I think they're just trying to take that model.
That spa looked similar, didn't it?
Yeah.
That kind of very similar.
So we got to get the Explorer Journeys Facebook group going. There must be already Facebook groups, and I know John is very popular Viking Facebook group. A lot of Viking folks might be tempted. I think it launches in July of this year.
Yeah, I know we're actually. I'm sharing this to the Viking group today, so hopefully they're checking us out and see something different here. I know we also got. Do you want to go to the next big thing here above that?
What is the next big thing?
Viking Saturn is coming out. So all the Viking people that are watching, the Viking Saturn should be ranked obviously the top of your best cruise ships for 2023. It's going to be, isn't it the 9th? Wow, the 9th
of April or May.
It's going to be the 9th ship in the ocean fleet. So if you've seen
that too,
Torsten Hagen, the chairman, he's holding up 10 because they had planned to build 10 of these ships, and now I know they're talking about even doing much more. But there's actually a picture of him holding up both hands, where they're going to build 10 of these ocean ships. Of course, it's just like the other ones. It's a sister. But I think this one actually is going to come out with, it's going to be hydrogen powered, I believe. Or is this the one that's, trying to remember. No, this one actually is going to be completely hydrogen powered. The one that just came out, it has a test on it.
Right. Well, yeah, we've gotten to hear from the church. Now we're both name dropping, right? So we know he's not a big fan of LNG. He has his whole no. So hydrogen to him is the fuel of the future. So it'll be interesting to see how those ships. I'm sure I'm no engineer. I'm sure they'll handle just the same and be more eco-friendly. So all for that. The thing though, of course, with Viking, I love Viking. They're amazing. The quality, the service. Always top notch. Food is great. But yeah, each ship is almost identical, right? So it's you're really just going to like where region of the world do you want to cruise to, and you don't really even need to know the name. Just like this is a Viking Ocean ship, and you just get on board and you have that seamless experience. So that is one thing I like about Viking. Whereas other cruise lines like Royal Caribbean ships have so many different classes that oftentimes the ship itself is a destination. But with Viking, really, they want the destination to shine, right?
Right. I think it also lends itself to that the service and the food and everything, all the different little things that are actually bigger on those ships rather than just the ship itself. Because
Mhm.
does that make sense? So yeah, really, really cool.
It's a nice size. It's around 900, just under 1,000 individuals on the ship. So, I mean, we've been on ships that only have 300 people, and sometimes I'm like, wow, this feels so small, and you see the same people all the time. But I feel on the Viking Ocean just is the perfect size. It still can go essentially, I think that's Venice, right? It can essentially go anywhere it needs to go. So you can tender, you can get to those smaller ports. You can also go to the larger ports,
Yeah,
and you have a little bit more choice because there's the restaurant, Manfredi's, one of the best buffets of any cruise line too. So there's a
room service, full room service,
yeah,
uh,
room services included, all of that. Yeah.
like real room service, like really, really nice.
You mean not just like a club sandwich and a personal pizza?
No, it's really good. Yeah, just I love these ships. You never feel crowded anywhere.
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So we gotta get back on a Viking. It's been a while since I've been on a Viking Ocean.
Yeah,
We gotta get back on. We were on expedition. John and I were able to test out the expedition ship. That was a really unique experience.
loved it.
And they have two of those now. They'll probably build more. I thought his number he wanted to get to 100 ocean ship. I'm assuming ocean to 100 river ships too. It was like another benchmark he was
Yeah, and I think he's getting close to that. I think he's in the 76 or something now, or it's in
crazy.
the 70s, I believe. But when they said 10, not long ago they only had the one, and now all of a sudden, boom, they built out this fleet so quickly that, and now it's just like, well, how many more will there be? That's almost. I think they're going to keep doing this because the demand for this brand. They just opened 2025 cruises this week.
Wow.
The demand is so high for Viking cruises that they've done all of 2023, of course. It's selling out. All of 2024 is selling out, and now they're going farther. And that's kind of like I'm going to talk for a minute about it. That's what their brand is about. Their demand is so high that they actually said, "Well, we could build more ships," and that's exactly what they've done. That they've build ships just to meet the demand for the amazing products. So really, really exciting times for Viking. And I know me and Don are just huge fans. And so many other people that we know, when you speak to them, privately, they'll say they just love Viking. So we can't say enough good things.
Yeah,
Hi,
you know Sandy, right? Sandy,
yeah,
hi Sandy, and she loves Viking too. We've gotten to sail on Viking trips with Sandy. She's amazing.
yeah. We were in Basel, Switzerland with Sandy. Yeah,
Yeah, amazing content creator in her own right there. So to John's point, you talk to folks in this industry, and plenty of them will mention when they choose to vacation or pay for a cruise, Viking comes up quite often as a trip that they take not for work that they actually take. So that says I think it's something a lot of brand. But a lot of these are great. These are a lot of these cruise lines. I mean, we love Viking, but we also like some of the big ships that are for big kids sometimes. It's kind of what kind of mood you're in, right? Sometimes like I want to really get into the destination. We've done we did the Iceland trip with them. They get to see Iceland. You go to places you never get to see. That you don't want a place that's got you don't want a ship that's got water slides and all these distractions. You want the nice intimate ship that you know is going to provide all that great comfort and great service and food, and then you get to explore destinations. Other benefit to a Viking, right? No kids.
yeah.
I love everyone else's kids when they're not on Vikings.
It's a great experience, and like you said, people ask all the time, and I get this last month I've had more people contact me, friends and family, asking about cruising, which is great. A lot of new cruisers coming into us. Like I said, demand for cruising is very, very high. People are ready to travel again, and to get to Don's point, just to kind of say a little more, cruising these ships are pretty much all around. They're floating resorts, some really, really large with so many amenities and options, and others smaller like Viking, more intimate experience, more luxury experience. But what you choose to do, where you choose to go, is your choice. It's based on sometimes budget, and do you want an adult only cruise? But you have all these different options, and it's all completely designed by the lines. Like I said, some of these bigger brands have multiple cruise lines to offer different unique experiences to their customers. And the average consumer doesn't think about sometimes. They just go, I love this brand. Well, you might be shortchanging yourself, because when you do a different type of experience, like Dom was just talking about, you want to go on a couples only cruise to some very serious destination where you don't need a lot of these other amenities. Maybe you should take those travel dollars and put it towards that experience and that type of vacation on that line. And that's what I would say, is sometimes think about the bigger picture. I know there's a lot of affinity for certain products like iCruise Royal Caribbean or iCruise Carnival, iCruise Princess, but you might be shortchanging yourself by not looking at the broader spectrum of products available to you as a consumer. And me and Don have had a chance to cruise a lot of these different products. They're all really, really great. There's a basic cruise product out there, but I would love the people to have a chance to sample those different flavors of the full palette of what's available out there. And that's what I look at. It's kind of like would you go to the same restaurant every day and have the same meal? And people are like, I love that place. But I would hope that you would try to expand your palate a little bit and try those different experiences.
But John, if I eat 11 subs at Subway, I get my 12th one free. So that's why I keep going there.
Did you notice the Paisano went right back to food? Right back to the food analogy.
Oh, you're talking about record. So,
well, you just eat pasta Mazul your whole life, or do you want a little bit of this, a little bit of that?
God forbid, I eat a cold soup. I got to try something that, so I do agree with John that you should definitely try different cruise lines. Like I said, Virgin was one cruise line that we were a little skeptical of. I like it more than Heidi does, but I feel there's sometimes like I want to go on Virgin Cruise. So the food's amazing. It's a unique experience. They have some a great bar program there too. The drinks program, cocktails program is fabulous. The dock, one of the best, I think, areas on any cruise ship. So if you never try, if you just stick to your cruise lines, but to also be fair too, the loyalty programs, we should do a whole live on loyalty programs because we get a lot of questions. I'm sure you do too about this. Yeah. So that's how the cruise lines get you though, because they're like, well, if you sail with us enough times, we're going to give you some free stuff like a free dinner, some free drinks, or you're going to get priority boarding, or you get some of these perks. And with some of the cruise lines venturing off to different regions, you might be tempted to go with that brand certain places, but I wouldn't ignore a place or not go somewhere because like your preferred cruise line doesn't go there, because you might find a new cruise line that's like your second best, right? If you try something else, but I know how tempting it can be. Yeah, that's why when people ask us what's our favorite cruise line, we don't really have one favorite cruise line. I can tell you who I've sailed the most with, but there's many reasons why we may have sailed the most with one brand or another, right? So it's definitely sample things a little bit, and then if you didn't like it, now you know, and you can stick to something else, go back to what you want, or try even a third option or a different option.
Right. A variety is the spice of life, as they say. And I think that people should try some things. At least look at some stuff. Go online and look at the pool deck at brand A. Look at the pool deck of brand B. Look at the atrium of brand A. Look at the atrium of brand B. And then, there's so many videos and things like that. And see if that's something that you might be learning, yearning for. It's because we of course we have these groups and we hear different people's things, and they'll basically be saying things. And I actually think I was chatting with someone. And I said, well, maybe you're outgrowing that brand, because I used to have coworkers and stuff like that they go on one brand, and that one brand isn't a one size fit all. So if you don't like the kids and you don't like the noise and you don't like the crowds in the middle of spring break when there's that many more people on board, then maybe you're ready for a different brand that has less children, more space per passenger. But I really don't think that they understand that there's actually a choice there, because they get so used to going to that brand. That's their brand. They're a repeat passenger. They're comfortable with the processes and the whole thing. And that can be a little intimidating for people. They get used to flying with a certain airline, or they get used to going to a certain hotel. That's what they know. But I think that you can have a great experience, and sometimes potentially a better experience that fits you at that time, So that's why you should be a little more curious maybe and look into it. And I've had coworkers in the past that would talk about one brand. One coworker, for example, had just cruised Carnival. but she got tired of it. She outgrew that brand. They got older, what they enjoyed, what they wanted. And they were telling me what they wanted. And I said, well, what about this brand? And now they've switched brands. They happen to go from Carnival to Princess, both by Carnival Corporation, both really, really nice. Both have amazing experiences, but it's got a different vibe, doesn't it? One brand has one vibe, the other brand has another vibe. And maybe you're just ready for a different vibe.
Yeah. And also sometimes I think some cruise lines get a stereotype that, stereotypes just are what they are. And once you experience for yourself, you can see. So again, Princess might be the same one. I can also think of Holland America Line, where we've gone on actually several Holland America Line cruises, and they're great actually. So they're great value. The food, some of the best main dining room food. Their buffet is easily laid out. It's predictable. And if you're doing a port intensive itinerary with them, we've done like Alaska, we've done New England with them, and we've sailed in Europe with them. The buffet is some of the best buffet options for dinner or different things depending where you are. And they have a great music program, pretty good cocktail program. But all you ever hear is sometimes, not everyone, but you have some stereotypes about that brand. But if we didn't try it out for ourselves, we would have let that go and be like, we've seen one of the best rock bands I've ever seen on a cruise ship was on a HAL ship, and they had the Rolling Stone Rock Room. Every night was jam-packed. People were drinking. They were playing all types of rock music from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It wasn't just the Bee Gees, or it wasn't just 70s disco music, and they were phenomenal musicians. You never would have pictured that venue or this type of rock band they would do in solos. It was great, and they have a really nice piano bar and other things too. So trying some of those other brands out actually can also open you up to things. And HAL does have some really unique itineraries. So that's the other thing too, as John mentioned. Yeah. If there's a place you really want to go and your cruise line doesn't go there, but this other one does, it might be worth it to check it out because you'll get to check out the destination and a new brand.
And if I remember right, the Holland America cabins were some of the largest anywhere.
Their standard, listen, their standard balcony is much bigger than Princess, just saying. Although we talked about some Princess earlier, some Princess will have all standard, their lowest level balcony is going to be a deluxe. So they've heard from, Princess has heard, and so their new class of ship will have, every balcony room will have at least a sofa in it. So they're reconfiguring the space. That way they're all deluxes. Because I've definitely, the entry level balcony, I was very surprised on Princess. It was kind of on the tiny side, and the bathroom had a shower curtain in it. And they also said all on some Princess, all the bathrooms are going to have no more shower curtains. It's going to have a door. It's going to have it looks like similar technology to what they have in the Excel class, right? So how that unique door slides in the bathroom on Mardi Gras or Celebration, right? It's, I think, going to have kind of a similar hinge or unique design to it. But Princess heard from customers like, we want a full size cabin and we want a real bathroom.
Yeah, just can't say enough about Holland America. I actually wanted to go on a Holland America ship recently, and I got outvoted by the children in the family still, so they didn't want to go. But the reason why is I was on the Eurodam a couple of years ago at Sea Trade and loved it. And I just walked in, beautiful artwork, just really, really palatial. Food is just incredible. They really highlight some of the best cruise food you can find anywhere. Like you said, the buffet, even on the island, we had a private island. There was lobsters in the private island. Yeah, like a Half Moon Cay had lobsters. And I was like, wow. And I couldn't believe it. But it was just, they had, at the time, they had really, really great food. And I'm sure it's good today in its own way. So, and like you're saying, and I'll just say it out loud, is the misconceptions people have about these different brands, it's not always true. People try to pigeonhole everything. This is this and this is that. And it's not true. Carnival's not this. Holland America's not this. Princess isn't this. It's right. Those generalizations aren't necessarily correct. So a lot of times it's when you cruise, how long the cruise is, so on and so forth. They're all really great products. And, hopefully, like I said, you have to think about what aligns to your taste and likes. And so good luck with it. Do some research. That's why we're here for you.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, ask us. You can ask John and I. Go to cruiseaddicts.com, eatsleepcruise.com. We can let you know our opinions. We have, as John this too. Anything we talk about is from firsthand experience, whether it's us personally or writers or contributors to our sites who have gone on these ships, they've gone to these destinations. They can give you their honest take of what their experience is like to help you make an informed decision. We always like to give individuals the tools that they can make the decision. Again, another question I always hate getting. Well, what's your favorite ship? Well, I don't really have favorite. My favorite ship is going to probably be different than your favorite ship. But what do you like? If you like food, I can talk to you all day about some of my favorite dining venues on the ship. Do you like entertainment? We can tell you about some of the best shows we've seen on the ship. Do you like fitness? Do you want the best gyms that have, or the most workout equipment? Like, right? What is it that's interests you? And we can let you know our experiences about those different categories or dimensions. Then you can use that information to pick the ship that aligns to what you like.
And sometimes you have to bend too, and I'm sure you'll agree, and I've talked about this before, is what I like is fine. What my wife like is fine. But if I take my family or I'm going on an extended cruise like you just did with your family, a lot of times it's what's best for the family as a whole, because you want everyone to be happy. And I'm sure you're going to be happy on that experience. But if you have young children in your family, I think you're going to want to be on a big ship that has a water park. So that includes, now we're talking about Carnival, MSC, Royal Caribbean, those types of ships that have these full, they were water parks, right?
Right. Full, legit. Yeah. Well, that's, yeah.
And then of course, we're both foodies. So you have these amazing specialty restaurants. So, and then so other things, shows that we really like my wife loves the shows. My daughter loves the shows. So you have to find all these things and check those boxes down there and find that what's going to be best for everybody that's sailing in the household or the group. And sometimes you find yourself at a place where you didn't think you were going to go, because it checks all the boxes. Everybody's going to be happy. You're going to have a great experience, and it's this brand. And now, granted, if you go on a couples cruise, maybe it's a totally different brand. And so I say, deviate that. Have a great time on this brand with your family, because that's what's a best fit. But if you go on a couples cruise and you want to put those dollars towards maybe a luxurious experience, maybe it's on another complete different brand. So, and that's where you get a little more adventurous and try it out, because you don't need a water park and all those things, because you're not going to use those things. You don't need a Robotron or, so, it's just whatever your tastes are. But I hope you'll explore that just like you explore while you're cruising, because I think you can really get good. So.
Right. That's a good, perfect point. And we're getting towards the end. We had, I think, one more question we can answer Tom's question. Again, another last question. Keep them coming. We appreciate all the engagement, all the questions, all the comments, the likes, the thumbs up. We really, really appreciate it. I haven't gotten another shoe thrown at me yet, but so this is, again, ship. So Tom's asking, what's the best ship for Alaska for folks who might be claustrophobic? Well, that's a great question, right?
Well, I would definitely get a balcony, wouldn't you?
For a cabin choice, for sure. We always think, and I think some folks early on said, I think balcony's a must in Alaska. I think it's worth the extra money. I would say some of the ships, just because it's smaller, may not feel claustrophobic. What we recommend is there's some ships that have some great viewing areas. I can think of like Norwegian Encore, Norwegian Bliss. They have that large observation lounge at the top of the ship that looks out. It's this beautiful multi-deck viewing area with the walls of glass, and it has a bar in there, and it has snacks, so there's food and drink. So it has a great viewing area, and it also has a promenade area, the waterfront area, which is on the lower deck, so you can go out and look at the glaciers or look at the fjords. So you want to investigate ships, especially in Alaska, that have those viewing areas. That might make, so if you are feeling claustrophobic inside, there's a lot of places to go outside. But that one just came to head right away because I love the observation lounge and I like the waterfront area. Yeah,
well, that's a great suggestion. I don't know if Tom's cruised on any other ships, because I'm wondering if he's thinking because if you haven't been on these ships or if you haven't cruised on, I'm just wondering what his cruising experience is. Mm-hmm. Have you been on a ship that's 70,000 tons or bigger? Because I think the claustrophobia would only kind of go a little bit lower, maybe if you were maybe larger hallways. Yeah, the hallways are kind of standardized on the bigger ships. They can get scooters can go down them and stuff like that. And then big spaces. I think 76,000 tons and higher, don't you think? Maybe 90,000 tons and higher.
I would think so. I would say some of the larger ships, the ceilings just feel so on some of the larger ships, the ceilings are taller too. So some of the smaller vessels,
Yeah.
they might feel even though I love some of those, like you said, 80,000, like 2,000 people ships.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes some of the main decks, especially the interior decks, can feel a little bit more claustrophobic because the ceiling's lower. The hallways might be tighter, right? Sometimes some of the design of some of those ships is some venues might be all on one side, like they're all on the starboard side. So you on some of those areas you have to walk only on one side of the ship, whereas some of the larger ships have the larger promenades that go right down the middle, or they have larger atriums, like the atrium on an Encore will be 2 decks tall, right? Large area where they have a coffee shop, or they have the 678 Ocean Place, which is 3 decks up, which is more open with some of the venues are off of it. And then that waterfront, not to say that that's the only type of ship that has that, but when someone says that to me, that's right when I think of.
Yeah, we love Norwegian Encore, so that's what you're talking. You're talking about that one, right? That Encore.
Yeah, Encore Bliss, they're very similar. Yeah, either one. I think they're both in Alaska.
I think they're like they're 130,000 tons, maybe.
Yeah, I think they're like 140, 150. They're like Freedom size.
Yeah.
They're a good size ship. So it is bigger. It's 4,000-ish people, right? 3,800, probably 4,000-ish people. So
yeah, Tom, I'm just trying to think of ships that is like that big. Like I'm trying to think of what big ships are in Alaska, because big ships usually equal big space in my mind, and that extra space in the hallways, the extra space in the cabins, a lot of times they're a little wider, they're a little taller. Like you said, the public spaces are a little bit bigger. And that's going to give you a sense and a feeling and that comfort to not be so, feel so closed in, because they really do feel like hotels, because as they get bigger, they're just very palatial.
Yeah. And so another one similar in size would be Ovation of the Seas from Royal Caribbean.
Oh, you're great. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, the Quantum class.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we'll stick with that, something big, because it's usually very relative. They don't build big ships and make these little nooks and crannies, which I think would bother me, personally. And of course, Tom is, might feel, that, like you said, the hallways and stuff like that. Yeah. So great. Check it out.
And on the other, and it's Sandy, I love this from Sandy too. So on the other end, there's Uncruise.
Oh yeah.
We've never been on Uncruise, but Uncruise, a lot more intimate. You can go to unique areas, right? They only usually have 50 to 100, like 100 people max on those vessels. They're pretty small.
Yeah, I think it's real similar to Limbat Expeditions, like we're talking about. So yeah, maybe 50 cabins, 100 people max, maybe less.
Yeah, maybe less. Different, unique. So that's a totally different experience.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong in Alaska. You can't. I mean, you can find big ship, small ship. That's more expedition. You can do contemporary cruising. Vikings got luxury cruising. There's any way you slice and dice it, there's a ship in Alaska that's ideal for any cruiser.
And the best part is you're in Alaska, so it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, in Radiance class, Royal Caribbean's Radiance class has a lot of open areas in the middle of the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, Royal Caribbean's really known for their glass walls. Their first Vision class ships were known as ships of glass, and just really incredible. So they really bring the outside in. And a lot of brands have tried to kind of follow that a little bit. So,
yeah. Well, John, I think we've gone almost 2 hours, and we really appreciate it. Did we get to the end of it? So we were previewing all the ships you can check out. We have a roundup of this. John can feature some of these ships too on cruiseaddicts.com or eatsleepcruise.com. I think we might have missed a ship here or there, I think we covered most of them, right?
Well, let's just do the last one here. The one that we're really looking
of course.
Is granted she won't sail until 2024, but at 250 gross tons, Icon of the Seas will feature 20 decks, 2,805 staterooms, 7 pools, 9 world pools, and 6 record-breaking water slides, and a swim-up bar, the first swim-up bar for Royal Caribbean. And it's going to be the largest cruise ship in the entire world. They've taken the Oasis class and just rethought it from the ground up, put the best of everything on. Really family focused. They've got Surfside, which is a family focused area, and just incredible. So this is coming in January 2024. If you haven't heard about Icon of the Seas, please visit us at cruiseaddicts.com. Please visit eatsleepcruise.com. Please follow us at Cruise Addicts, at eatsleepcruise.com, and learn all about this amazing ship. That's the amazing water park.
It's crazy. It's crazy. They just had a release about all the different, like each slide and what it's going to have, and each cruise goes to. We were talking about private islands earlier. Perfect Day at Coco Cay.
Seven,
It's crazy. It's crazy, right? That this is
seven,
good. This vessel can float with all the stuff on it.
7 pools.
Yeah.
It's got the largest. It's got the largest water. It's got the largest pool on any cruise ship.
Yeah.
And there's more that they haven't even told us about. There's so much going on in this ship. It's just really going to be, a seventh wonder of the world. I mean, it's just incredible, the stuff that's on here. And granted, that is a family cruise. That's the largest water pool.
So if you go on this ship, there'll be families. There'll be plenty of kids running around, but multi-generational. I mean, multi-generational cruise, because there are adults only areas here too. Mentioned the swim up bar, crazy. I mean, this is amazing.
Yeah,
we've already booked. As soon as it came available, we called our trusted travel partner who specializes in our Royal Caribbean group, and I'm like, get us cabin on this ship. So the one thing they have the infinity balconies. They have that condo like kind of section in the back where they're moving things around. So if you're familiar with the Oasis class, this has a very similar setup, but they're changing things up. There's a whole family area in the back here where you would normally have. Well, they still have the merry-go-round, but you would normally have the aqua theater. So they really took that Oasis blueprint and kept some things the same, but shifted things around, right?
Yeah, there's an infinity pool.
Look at that.
Overlooking.
Cantilevered between those two things.
Suspended.
Yeah, suspended. Sorry, suspended. There you go. Crazy.
They've added more trees. I know there's a number of more trees to Central Park here. It's just incredible. It's made it lusher. They've taken everything and turned it up. Look at this.
Yeah. So be on the lookout. That's not that. So that's all the footage I have. It's all the footage I have an icon, but there's plenty, because John said we'd only know a little bit about the restaurants, so we still have to hear more about that. They've kind of told us what signature Royal Caribbean restaurants are going to be there, but more to come on that. And we only know a little bit about the entertainment. I think Nick Ware teased some entertainment stuff. I don't know if you saw that earlier this week on Twitter. Nick was out there kind of hinting at what the entertainment's going to be on the ship, but more to come there, because I think Royal has some of the best entertainment at sea. But I kind of see great way to bring in 2024, right?
Yeah, and their entertainment is really, really, really good. So that's what I'm saying. People love shows. That's why you just have to kind of check all those boxes. But wow, I can't believe how long we've gone. This has felt like this really flowed well. I think we had a great time talking to each other and everybody else. I can't believe all the comments. I know we can't get to them all, I imagine. But thank you so much for checking in. Thank you for Tom Brooks checking in. Really appreciate it. All the lovely questions. And we hope we helped you learn some things. And I know we've learned some stuff from you guys. So we really thank you. Hopefully one day we will be able to cruise together in a group. If we keep doing this, we all want to get together. That'd be a real blessing. So
we'll send out some feelers on social media. Let us know. Folks watching, let us know where you'd like to go on a group cruise, what cruise lines you might be hinting to. We can start the groundwork now, because those will take time, right, to plan. And maybe 2024, we got to think of a good co-branded name. We'll got to get on that.
Yeah, might be interesting.
Interesting. So John, where can folks find you on social media and just on the interwebs in general?
Yeah, interwebs. I'm at Cruise. It's at Cruise Addicts, Twitter, Facebook, many different things. And also I'm at www.cruiseaddicts.com. Do
you really need the www for your website?
Well,
you just can't go to.
I'm just old like that. That's like OG style. www. Right.
And everyone knows John and I have a great relationship. We're good friends. So I want to say one hateful. So this isn't me who wrote this. What you were talking about when you launched Cruise Addicts, and someone grabbed our Eat Sleep Cruise handle, and this is what they said to you, John.
We were still in high school in 1999.
Class of 99.
Where were you in 1989 when I went on my first cruise?
Younger. So you went on your first cruise when you were like -5. Like we said, you were 6 or just
-5.
-5.
I didn't even have a little baby tablet then.
You had. So I didn't approve of this comment. Someone hijacked our tag. So when you were talking about Cruise Addicts, someone with the EC Cruise handle had to throw that dig in there. I'm not gonna say
somebody. Somebody, I tell you.
somebody. So, but we yeah. Now people can do quick math. Like, wait, so Heidi and I are both the class of '99.
Class of '99. Okay, that's a good year.
Yeah.
Oh,
You remember talking about the E-Trade, baby. Remember how Y2K was the whole world was gonna blow up because computers they only had 2 digits for the year or whatever.
They replaced all the computers at work.
Did they really at your job?
They had like Windows 2000 or something. Remember? Windows 2000?
I was still in school, John. I didn't have a job. I don't remember.
Yeah, they like complained. There was a lot of computers, but they came with all these new computers and changed them all. And it was Windows 2000, I think it was called, or something. For some reason, I think that I don't even know. But
yeah, but no, it was Y2K. The world was going to come to an end. I was in high school. All the computers were going to stop January 1st of 2000 because of this. And like all the stuff that the news media does to us, I don't think anything went wrong.
Nothing happened.
Maybe some mom and pop shop lost their files. Maybe I don't know. Nothing happened, but
maybe some old like laundry machine stopped working.
Yeah, some old ATMs didn't work anymore, but like nothing ever happened, and that was that's a throwback there of Y2K.
People that made a lot of money from that.
Oh, yeah, crazy. So Cruise Addicts is sold. You still need www.cruiseaddicts.com. You can find us at just eatsleepcruise.com. You don't need the double www.
Okay. I admit, cruiseaddicts.com. That's all I got to go.
.com. Dash or no dash. He has them both. And then you can just write Cruise Addicts. It comes right up. And then eatsleepcruise.com. And of course, you can find us on social at Eat Sleep Cruise. All the great social media stuff, courtesy of my beautiful wife. She's the director, the producer, the social media vice president. She holds all the titles.
The queen, the princess.
No, the princess. We call her the princess. Queen. Her mind, queen is too old.
Oh.
You don't want to be a queen. That's for that's old. That's old.
Oh.
So
okay.
Yeah. And we already gave our age away for the class of '99. So I mean.
Okay. Well. All right. Sorry.
Anyway, thanks as always, folks. You can reach out to us social media or on our website for any questions. And until next time, John, we'll have to think of a great thing. This was a great one. We'll think about what next topic we can talk about next time we get together.
Yeah, hopefully back in 2 weeks or so, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks. So we'll make sure to publish. I think we got to get a schedule down, a calendar down, that we can publish it on social so folks know topics we're going to talk about. We always like Q&A, and when we're going to do this that way, you can set your. I don't know what you set to your phone reminders or your social media reminders. You can check your TV guide, whatever you use. There goes the E-Trade baby right there. He's figuring it out. But yeah, no, thanks again, everyone. Have a good night.